Hello, Phil from the future here. Today's video is really cool. If you are here for League gameplay only, feel free to skip to that. The League is very cool and I'm very happy with the final deck list that we build today, but the first portion of this video is going to be a lot of gold fishing and workshopping, and it's going to show you how I got to the final product. So buckle up and enjoy the show. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and we've got a spicy one today from Joe, who has given us a Turbo Thrasta Tempest's Roar list. So this spell costs 3 less to cast for each other spell cast this turn. A pseudo storm card. It has trample, haste, hexproof the turn that it enters, and it tramples over planeswalkers. And our goal is to get this into play as quickly and consistently as possible. And Glimpse of Nature is the engine to make that happen. So it can be relatively easy to just do something like play 3 0-drops and then tap Gaea's Cradle for Thrasta. Like, that is just a thing that can happen. But in the times where that doesn't happen, you can instead Glimpse of Nature, draw through a huge portion of your deck, hopefully getting some spirit guides along the way that allow you to play the Thrasta anyway. And I think today's video needs to be a different sort of video, because I suspect that this deck needs a lot, and I mean a lot, of love. And let me show you what I mean. Thrasta is a 3-turn clock on its own, which if you play on turn 1 is, I think, acceptable. But we have literal zero ability to interact with our opponent in any capacity. We have a few things that can make it so that our spells are much, much, much more likely to resolve, and that is fine and good. But I don't know that this is consistent, especially if we're using Summoner's Pact as a part of the deck. And I imagine a good portion of the time, we Summoner's Pact, we get the Thrasta into play, we attack for 7, and then we don't have 4 mana at the beginning of the next turn and we die. So this is a day where I'm going to kind of do this in phases, where we're going to goldfish this initial deck a little bit, kind of track a little bit of data on it, see how it goes, and then probably go through a couple of different rebuilds and maybe play a few matches at the end in an actual league, depending on how this process goes. So buckle up, we are in Bizarro Combo Land territory, and I'm going to shout out both of my sponsors at the beginning of the video here, because I don't know how this video is going to go exactly. But if you decide you need some sweet dinosaur action in your life, please consider getting them from my sponsor, toamagic.com. Use promo code ThrabenU when you do, and you'll save a little bit on your order. You always get great customer service, free shipping, and honestly, these folks are just great. I've really enjoyed working with them and buying cards from them. And if you are interested in any of the deck lists that I have been playing, please check out my Moxfield, moxfield.com. ThrabenU, real easy to find on there. There's probably hundreds of deck lists up there at this point, and the decks that I am playing usually hit Moxfield minutes after I finish my league, rather than maybe having to wait a week to see what I am cooking with. So check me out there. Let's go ahead and hop into the tournament practice room and start goldfishing this baby. All right, opening hand number 1 here is awkward. I can play a Glimpse of Nature, double Spirit Guide into a Frenzied Baloth immediately, but that doesn't feel great. I could keep this in the hopes that my next draw is a 0-drop to start the chain, but with 2 Spirit Guides already gone already and a land drop used, I don't know that that's great. I think I'll mulligan this one. This second one looks fine. I am wary of Summoner's Pact after using Forest as a land drop. I could use Spirit Guide to cast Glimpse in hopes of keeping my land drop available for Gaea's Cradle. Let's do that. So I start with Once Upon a Time. I will just take any 0-drop here. Well, second Spirit Guide? Glimpse, go? All right, let's do second Spirit Guide. So Glimpse here, Glimpse here. Now each one of these is a draw 2. So I need to hit a Gaia's Cradle to get Thrasta. This is pretty close to a dead card. It is possible I could cast it. All right. So now we're getting to the point where I might need to use this. I think I just do. I think I just Summoner's Pact, pick up Thrasta. Thrasta is 2 mana. And I could keep going here. Let's keep going. So then Phyrexian Walker draws 3. I'm going to need to manage the number of cards in my deck, I suppose. I want to find the Baloths. Let's see if I can fish them out naturally. I have 4 mana to cast 2 Baloths. I have failed on finding them naturally so far. Keep going. Oh, legend. Okay, so that's something important to note, is I should not play more of those for Gaia's Cradle purposes. So there's the first Frenzied Baloth. I can get 1 more of those into play. Okay, cool. So, Junk Spirit Guide, Junk Spirit Guide. So this is 6, 12, 13 damage. This is a 2-turn clock. So our first hand required 1 mulligan and goldfishes on turn 2. We'll lose to Wasteland every time here. That was a good proof of concept. If it keeps looking like that, I will just shut up and play a league with it. All right, second opening hand. Does not have a Thrasta. Has 5, looks at a Thrasta. Does not have a Glimpse. I imagine the fail rate is too high there. I take a mulligan. The second hand is fine as long as I hit a land drop, I think. Let's keep it. Pitch the Summoner's Pact. I have Once Upon a Time to find a land. All right, Cradle or Forest. It probably has to be Forest here, unfortunately. And we hope to just hit some Spirit Guides to go wild. So let's yield to that. No. Do this. We are getting redraws, but we have fizzled. So that's not great. I can play a Frenzied Baloth. I think that's worse than trying to wait a turn to get something else going. So this is now turn 3. Let's do this. Turn 4. Okay. Now we go wild. We probably Glimpse, Baloth, draw 2. Now Thrasta is going to be fine and good. I guess if Thrasta always costs 2, I can just do it now and take the draws off of it. So I did play my land drop this turn. So if I continue drawing, I'm trying to hit 1 more Spirit Guide for Frenzied Baloth, which seems fine. I could Summoner's Pact for it as well, technically. Let's keep going. Yeah, I don't know how I ever beat Wasteland. I don't really conceptually understand that. The combo deck that fizzles on a Wasteland is kind of a rough place to be. Okay, so there would be another Spirit Guide. So now we go Baloth, off 2 of those. So this is turn 4. I attack for 7, 8, plus 6, 14. So I Goldfish on 5 there, which is way too slow. When we execute our thing and don't win the game the same turn, that feels rough. So this is a fine hand. So reduce by 3, reduce by 6, reduce by 9, make my creatures uncounterable, and Thrasta. So this would be a turn 3 Goldfish. No backup to speak of, but the stuff that was important was 100% counterable. Turn 3 Goldfish is fine. A hand like that loses to Swords. It doesn't lose to Fatal Push. Oop, nope. Don't want to do that. I don't think we are ready for other players yet. So this has 5 looks at not casting a Thrasta. I think we'll say no to that. This reduces by 6. I don't have green. On 6, I probably keep this and try to stitch it together with Once Upon a Time. That is also a spell for Thrasta. So reduced by 3, 6, 9, costs 3 mana. I think this does the thing on turn 2 instead. I have 2 green mana, but I'm 1 mana short of making that work. So I just play a forest and pass. And then on turn 2, I do the thing. Always yield to that. Field spheres. So at any point now, we can Thrasta. Play Cradle. Thrasta gives us a draw. And now I can try to find a Baloth as well. Yeah. No, I'll take the redraw over Allosaurus Shepherd, I think. All right, and this is the point where I stop. This is turn 2, 3 attacks. I Goldfish on 5. I don't feel like that wins the average game. Well, my problem is I'm just not winning the game fast enough. I'm doing the thing relatively consistently, but it's just not fast enough. If I do the thing on turn 1, it's fine. No, I think if I do the thing on turn 1, it's good. If I do it on turn 2, it's fine. And if I do it on turn 3, Goldfishing on 5 feels really rough. I don't think that does anything. I know that doesn't do anything. And now I'm on 4 cards, which feels like an auto loss. I think I'm keeping this and attempting to play a Thrasta on turn 2. Yikes. I think I just make a regular land drop past the turn. And if I hit Thrasta, I can cast it right. Reduced by 9, have 3 mana. Miss Thrasta, which probably means that I just lose the game. So there we just fully fizzled to ourselves. Let's do one more. Because any deck is going to lose to itself occasionally. So reduce by 3, 6, 9, have 3 mana. Alright, that's a turn 1 Thrasta. I mean, that's good. So 1, 2, 3. I could Summoner's Pact here and expose myself to Wasteland killing me to put Frenzied Baloth in play and make this so it can't be countered. I think I would probably be fine doing that. So there's the Baloth, can't be countered. There's Thrasta. So that is a 2-turn clock. That's very good. Is this good enough to take into a league? Let's do a little research on other Glimpse of Nature decks right now. To the lab. So, to find a Glimpse of Nature deck that is not elves, I had to go through 19 pages of results and go all the way back to 2021 in order to find anything that was working the same way, which does not inspire much confidence in what we are doing here. I believe I played this exact list, so I don't know that we are going to gain much in terms of our research, but we're going to keep trying. All right, I was able to find 2 things that were sort of interesting after doing a little more digging. Number 1 is attempting to use Venerated Rot Priest as an alternative win condition. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. So the idea here is that you vomit a bunch of 0-drops into play, you have 10 creatures, and then you cast Scapegoat, sacrificing one of them. You return all the creatures to hand, and then you give your opponent 10 poison counters. That is a way to actually factually win the game on the spot if you do the thing. And a backup here was Assault Formation, so that all of your creatures that technically have toughness can attack with them. Although I don't know how reliable that is actually going to be. This version did not have Gaia's Cradle, but it did have Lotus Petals and all the various 0-drops that you would expect. And then the other version I saw had Cradles and Lotus Petals and was going for Rite of Harmony in addition to Glimpse of Nature, so that you can double up on the ways to get things going with Glimpse. And it had some neat tech in the form of Vizier of the Menagerie to be able to cast all of your stuff off the top of the deck. But neither of these things ends up fixing the interaction problem. The thing that these can fix is the I lose to Wasteland problem. It may be that Lotus Petals are better than lands here, seeing those in the other lists, because you can Lotus Petal, Glimpse, those are spells that count towards Thrasta. Yeah, let's start editing this. So let's add a Cradle. Let's go down 4 lands. Did I miscount, or was this a 61? Oh no, I added 1 Cradle, I see. So add 4 Lotus Petals. Now my land drop is always Gaia's Cradle if I hit a land drop. That might make Thrasta more consistent. Alright. Ignoring the sideboard for now, let's now hop back into some goldfishing and see if the deck feels faster and more consistent with just those changes. So this gets 5 looks plus a draw step at Thrasta. I guess this is kind of important math that I should know. So what are our chances of hitting a Thrasta 5 looks out of 4 out of 53? That's going to come up a lot. That only hits about a third of the time, or about 40% of the time if we include an extra draw in there. I don't know that we keep hands that fizzle 66% of the time, or even 60% of the time. All right, so this is actually going to be very close to going off. We take 1 mulligan with this, and then we keep. The Lotus Petal represents a big change from a forest here, in that if we hit a Gaia's Cradle, we are just good to go already. I have a lot of redraws here. Okay, yeah, there's the Gaia's Cradle. So I can keep going to see if we can get more out of this. I think at this point I do this, and we'll see if we can hit a Baloth as well. Or an actual play. It might be that Allosaurus Shepherd there to... No, surely my opponent would have countered the Glimpse, right? With the Lotus Petal and the Spirit Guide there, I can probably go ahead and cast a Baloth. Now let's just go ahead and cast one of these. I'm always going to want to do that. This is already a 2-turn clock. Lotus Petal tech helps a lot there. Let's try 1 or 2 more. It might be that I want to drop a creature or something for a forest. This doesn't do anything. This is pretty close to doing something. I'll get rid of the Baloth here. Lotus Petal, Glimpse. So Lotus Petal, Glimpse this. Cost is reduced by 3. Yeah, I think this is fine. So spell 1, Glimpse, spell 2, take the redraw. Then I go bam, bam, bam. Have a 3-turn clock on turn 1 after a mulligan. Okay. Seems good. This doesn't have anything great going for it. Let's mulligan that. This kind of questionable. If I reduce the number of lands in my deck, Once Upon a Time definitely gets worse. And it only hits the card that I want it to about a third of the time anyway. Maybe we can mess with that. We go to 5, and at this point I imagine that the hand kind of loses to itself. Once Upon a Time still looks at Cradle though, and that does matter. It's still a free spell for reducing Thrasta. That still matters. But no starting mana source here. That's a mulligan. And this one probably goes wild. Get rid of the Shepherd there, keep the maximum number of redraws, and we start going. Got some mana now. I can get the Thrasta if I have one more mana, but I can't pay for a Summoner's Pact yet. I need another mana. Come on. Come on. Come on. Uh-oh. So at this point, I could Summoner's Pact for a Spirit Guide, play a Thrasta, but this is a fizzle. All right, we'll concede there. I guess we could also consider getting rid of Frenzied Baloth. It is haste damage that makes my stuff uncounterable. Is it more important to just reduce the chance that I fizzle while comboing? Unsure. I think I would keep this Summoner's Pact for a Spirit Guide and attempt to make this work. So, Summoner's Pact, get Spirit Guide, Glimpse of Nature here. I'm already most of the way towards paying for a pact anyway. Okay, nice. Then I would Cradle. This is already 2 mana, so I can cast this now, or I could cast the Baloth first. Either way is fine. Baloth. So I would attack for 10 on turn 1, pay for pact, kill on turn 2. All right, I like this iteration, but let's do a little thinking and try a different version. Okay, next idea is to try and find redundancy for Thrasta. And let's scoot you over. I found Ancient Imperiosaur. So this says Convoke, and it enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each creature that convoked it. So in theory, this could be free. So we are going to try adding a playset of these into the deck alongside Chatterstorm. And it's going to make finding Gaea's Cradle a little more important, but we're going to try to drop Summoner's Pact from the deck. Summoner's Pact is usually finding Thrasta, and it becomes less important to find Thrasta because I just have redundancy for Thrasta. Maybe this works out. So let's try to goldfish this and see if this feels better or worse. Okay. This might be proof of concept. I'd like to draw another 0-drop here. Okay, I did. So we go Glimpse of Nature, and we start playing 0-drops. Oh, I should actually probably Glimpse again immediately. I should have done that before the previous redraw to draw one more card. This is looking spicy. This is spicy. So everybody is uncounterable. Now I keep playing 0-drops. Oh, this is going to be actually kind of nuts. There's Thrasta as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can play one of these for free already, assuming I play a green creature. And so now I guess this becomes, do I find more Spirit Guides? Okay, this is admittedly pretty fucking cool. I make a lot of squirrels. I maybe ignore Thrasta and just go squirrels into a bunch of copies of Imperiosaur. Let's exile this for mana. Did I find another Spirit Guide in there? No. Am I out of 0-drops now? I am out of 0-drops. Let's go ahead and play a Chatterstorm. Oh yeah. So now that we've done that, I will do Ancient Imperiosaur, and we convoke a bunch of creatures. 2 of these have to be green. Now that enters with 14 counters on it. That also gives me a redraw. Okay, that's pretty cool. So now I can go ahead and play a Thrasta, and then I can just keep doing these Imperiosaurs, which also just draw cards. Neat. Okay, so I have another just mechanics question. I want to make sure I don't deck out here. Drawing 2 at a time, so this is still fine. So can I overpay for this? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, will it let me just keep convoking? No. Okay, so it does cap me out. This is looking a lot more impressive. Let's goldfish a few more times, but I think this is a bingo. All right, next up, we don't have mana. This one's a mulligan. This one's also a mulligan. On 5, I would probably keep this and just be a little sad. Never mind, this deck is the greatest. What a perfect draw. This is turn 1 on a mull to 5, and we'll see how impressive this ends up looking. Little scared, little scared. All right, come on. Looking for one of the payoff cards here. Gaia's Cradle. Cast a Spirit Guide for a redraw. Fizzle. Let's see if our next turn redeems it. No. All right, so that one lost to itself. Little less good than last time. But if we hit a payoff card there, and there were 12 of them, if we hit one, that hand was perfectly redeemable on 5 cards. All right. 1 spell, 2 spell, 3 spell, 4 spell, hit Cradle off Once Upon a Time. Go for it. Negative. Can't get Lotus Petal. Could get Basic Forest there. Unfortunate. Oh, this works with Spirit Guide. So, bam, 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 bam. So I could Thrasta and attack immediately, or I Chatterstorm and play the thing that has Ward. I think I do the thing that has Ward here. So Chatterstorm, and then I make a 20/20. I mean, yeah, that seems way better than Thrasta. Yeah, convoking for the full 7 just is a 20/20. Okay. Well, I think this is the build. I don't know that I can get much better than this. So I think this is where we end up going into an actual league here. So I've now built a sideboard. There's a lot of show and tell in the metagame right now, and I'm just going to take something that maybe can give me a freebie versus show and tell. And obviously we want stuff that costs 0. Endurance is kind of neat in that it technically can be something that triggers a glimpse of nature and regularly contributes to our combo. We're not really going to be able to interact much, and there might be times where we look at these cards and go, some of these are playable, but I should just try to jam and hope that it works. We don't know that we have enough mana in the deck to play some of the things like Disruptor Flute that were in the original sideboard. Let's just see how this goes. I don't know if I'm going to play out the entire league, but I want to at least get a few matches in. Okay, can I play a Thrasta? Spell 1, spell 2, spell 3, spell 4. This is a turn 1 Thrasta. Reduced by 3, 6, 9, 12. 2 creatures, Cradle, go. Yep. So we don't want to see Thoughtseize. Chalice doesn't matter. This can't be countered. Yeah, that's fine. And my opponent lowered their life total by 2. Although I don't think that changes the Thrasta clock here. So, Once Upon a Time, to a Memnite, I guess it has power and toughness. So, Lotus Petal, you can't be countered. Memnite, Kobolds, Cradle, Thrasta costs 2 mana. Combat, 7? Yeah. Opponent dead very quickly here. I hit for 9 next turn, since I have 2 1/1s in play. Ha 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 ha! Joe, we did it. Game win on the board. Alright, how much do I care about Force of Vigor? I think a lot. I think if my opponent puts it on 0 instead of 1, I have a bad time, right? Because then it's very impossible for me to produce mana, actually, right? Because Lotus Petal and Cradle both require the 0 drops. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, so we need the Force of Vigors. What comes out? I guess Allosaurus Shepherds can... Is this green? Green spells you control can't be countered, so this is not the same functionality as the Baloth. I don't think it's Once Upon a Time. I think I need to use that to find Cradle. It may be that this is a trim rather than cut anything specifically situation. So if I find a Cradle, this one produces Thrasta on turn 1. So we did the math on that before. I'll find it about 40% of the time. I think I'm going to just look again. This probably goes somewhere. Probably. I think I'm willing to keep it here. The Chalice on 0 is a big problem, though. Fuck. Yes. It's okay, we'll just turn 1 my opponent next game. Alright, do this. That's a Spirit Guide? Do I just glimpse 4 redraws towards Allosaurus Shepherd immediately? I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'll play this out, but wait a turn. Thundering Eruption is a thing that can punish me playing this out, but I might be super bottlenecked on mana, and like this producing a single mana could be relevant. Okay, you are Eldrazi. You've got it. So I have 2 mana to Chatterstorm. No, I don't. I have 1 mana towards Chatterstorm. Chalice, good. Let's wait 1 turn. I don't feel the immediate threat of death. Ancient Tomb and Passing. Oh shit, it's Allosaurus Shepherd. Now specifically, the green ones can't be countered. This gets me a mana into play towards Chatterstorm. Kozilek's Command is a problem. Alright, let's go for it. So tap that for a mana, do Glimpse. Now the goal here... Yeah. The goal here is to get to Chatterstorm, maybe while also getting a Gaea's Cradle. Alright, the Lotus Petals are not what I want to see. Another Shepherd. Uh-huh. Come on. Come on. Thrasta. Yeah, Chalice on 0 is rough. Not a success. I still have lines to make a Thrasta later, where next turn I play an Allosaurus Shepherd, and then I go like Petal for Storm. Oof, Eldrazi Confluence. Alright. My win is looking less and less likely here. The Eldrazi Scions from Eldrazi Confluence have power and toughness and therefore should be attacking. Petal. This doesn't make mana right now, so I need to play Allosaurus Shepherd this turn and do the thing next turn? I have to do that off the Spirit Guide. Gross. Oh, that maybe means that I shouldn't just do this now. It gives my opponent a chance to cast another spell that looks like this, and I should wait a turn on that until I maybe draw another Spirit Guide. Are we just at Eye of Ugin tutoring? We are. Alright, I'm not gonna beat the Thought-Knots here, I don't think. Let's do one of these where we're on the play, and we can try to do something on turn 1 before Chalice on 0 comes down. Am I just trying to turn 1? Do I just take these out? I think I do. Yeah. We are the YOLO deck. Let's YOLO when we're on the play. Okay. This is probably fine. There's probably a few branching paths for how I play this out, depending on what happens with Once Upon a Time here. This is absolutely going to be a non-deterministic situation where it does depend on what I draw and what I see off of Once Upon a Time. A turn 1 Thrasta, I think, beats my opponent the vast majority of the time, though. Alright, opponent on 6. Here's Once Upon a Time. Cradle seems like it probably ends up being the pick. It might bridge me to this. So let's Glimpse. And we hope for some okay redraws. I don't need the redraws to be that crazy. I already have a payoff card in hand, and I already have mana. I'm looking to just chain some 0 drops together here. Ornithopter. Allosaurus Shepherd is totally fine as well. Let's go ahead and do that one. So there's the Shepherd. Now Cradle. I think I just want to convoke as many creatures as possible here. So Imperiosaur. That is what I was afraid of. This exiles the spells. It can't be countered, but that's not what's happening here. That's super unfortunate. Spirit Guide. I can still hit a payoff card off this draw. Miss. That's a disaster. I only have, what, 2, 3 power in play? Alright, I mean, let's draw a new payoff card. F. I mean, I still just want to draw the big expensive thing, right? That hasn't changed. Oh shit, it's the big expensive thing! Yeah. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ancient Imperiosaur. And as we have already determined, that is 20 power. That kills next turn. And I can also cast an Elvish Spirit Guide. Hot damn. Obviously lucky top deck. Joe, we did it! Joe, we did it! Ancient Imperiosaur, 1 turn clock. Thrasta deck is the truth. Doubters in shambles. GG's. Alright, opening hand looks pretty good here, assuming that my stuff resolves. I don't know that Imperiosaur is guaranteed or anything, but... ooh, we are playing Magic. Now we just want to draw more 0 drops here, not more lands. Another Glimpse? This is exact, right? This is essentially 3, 6, 7. Woo! We were close to a fizzle there. Ah, so close. Next turn, though. We made a 12-12 on turn 1, and it has Ward 2. That should win the average game of Magic. It has Trample as well. Will my opponent show me any cards, or will they just concede here? This is hard for any fair deck to beat. Let's see if they've got a... oh no! Are you Storm or Doomsday? Probably Storm. Okay. This is non-deterministic. They're echoing. Alright. They are echoing with a lot of mana floating, which is scary. I will be slightly upset if we lose after producing a 12-12 on turn 1. From Mox, Beseech. If they're getting rid of a Beseech, that probably means that they just have another. Oh, that'll work too. So then they Beseech. 4 Tendrils. Alright. I did my combo on turn 1. My opponent did their combo on turn 1. There's one. GG. We got a couple of Mindbreak traps for this. Is it the same logic as before, where I just try to shove on turn 1 when I'm on the play? It might be. I 100% need the Mindbreak traps on the draw. I think I still need them on the play. Do I need Allosaurus Shepherd in this matchup? My opponent's not going to be countering my stuff. It is a green creature for Convoking Imperiosaur. That's the big thing that it does. Might cut like 2 of those, a Chatterstorm. Then I keep some mixed functionality around. Alright. Storm is 1, 2, 3. Chatterstorm off Lotus Petals. Play Imperiosaur. Okay. I think opponent's got to keep a fast hand. So, Petal. Petal. Sphere. Look at me. I'm the Storm deck now. Make 4 squirrels. Then Imperiosaur. So this is a respectable 16-16, which is a 1-turn clock when you count the squirrel tokens. So my opponent needs to turn 1 us. Looks like they're going to try. Chrome Mox. LED. LED. Dark Ritual. It's an echo line, which means that I can draw Mindbreak Trap. Let's see. I do. I love seeing mana spent on Brainstorm rather than on killing me. Yep. I think I let that resolve. Echo directly to graveyard. No! Yep. That's fine. If I fight over the gamble and they just have a second payoff card, it's awkward, right? So does my opponent just have the second payoff card already in hand, and is the echo just not relevant? Yes, they had 2 echoes. All right. So we spin again. I do not have a Mindbreak Trap this time. I think I'm getting turn 1 2 games in a row. Brainstorm. Notably, my opponent's deck can produce enough mana to Boomerang Basics and Imperiosaur to buy a turn. Alright, that'll be Burning Wish for Tendrils, or Beseech or whatever. That'll do it. I mean, we did the thing on turn 1, both of our games, which we can't do any better than that. I can see the writing on the wall here. I'm gonna go ahead and concede. You've got this one. GG. Okay, I think I'm willing to keep this one. I do something broken if I hit Spirit Guide or Gaia's Cradle off of Once Upon a Time. So, here we go. I hit Cradle, so that's fine. I have a line where I glimpse instead. I don't think I take that line. I think I'm just going to guarantee the turn 1 Imperiosaur. So I have an extra mana to glimpse now, though, and I'll just take that card. I have made a 14/14 on turn 1 while cycling a card. I'll take it. All right, freebie, we win. Proof of concept again. I think we do not sideboard, not knowing what our opponent's deck is. We're just going to dilute our glass cannon if we do. My opening hand looks fine. This is a Once Upon a Time to look for Cradle, and then has Glimpse with at least 2 redraws. Opponent going to 5. Vault of Whispers, probably Storm. It is a Thoughtseize. Imagine I just take Cradle here without thinking about it very much. Opponent takes my Glimpse. Do I still just make a Thrasta on turn 1? Oh yeah, definitely. So Lotus Petal, Shepherd, Lotus Petal, Memnite, Ornithopter, Cradle, Thrasta, Punchies for 7. Opponent to 11. Facing down a lot of damage. We'll see if they can combo me off. Looks like they're going to try. Infernal Tutor. Yep. Gonna be enough via Beseech. Oh, okay, they've got Ad Naus. This is an Ad Naus from a relatively low life total. 7. Still 7. 6. 5. 3. 2. Mana might be a bottleneck here. Opal is mana. So 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. Yeah, it's not enough yet. Are they still 1 mana short? 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Lotus Petal can go to the graveyard. Yeah, they're flipping. They need another. Oh, does that do it? Seems like that does it. So Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Chrome Mox. There's 2 Duresses in hand that my opponent can imprint. Wishclaw, Talisman, notably can't go under Chrome Mox. Red mana, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. The Dark Ritual gets the extra card into graveyard, which means the Cabal Ritual has Threshold. So that's now enough to activate Wishclaw Talisman. That's unfortunate luck on our end, honestly. Like, opponent basically had to hit the Dark Writ, and this is exactly enough for Tendrils here. Although there might have been a main deck Tendrils as well. Damn. We don't want to get paired against Storm. Alright, Mindbreak Traps come in. I think I ended up cutting 2 of those, 1 of those. We'll do that again. This hand does not have any mana. That is not gonna do it. Okay. And I get to you. Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal. Chatterstorm. 3 squirrels. Cradle is 6 towards Imperiosaur. This is the 7th. I junk Allosaurus Shepherd. Okay. This does nothing if my opponent turn 1s us again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Second Petal. Chatterstorm. 3 squirrels. Invoke for 3. Tap for 3. +1 is Imperiosaur. This is 15 damage next turn, so I need 2 combat steps. After the first combat step, Ad Naus is basically not live anymore. Okay, cool. Oh, that's 2 wins for us. We just win. Hot damn. We might go positive this league with our meme deck. GG's. Okay, at a glance here, it looks like this is too much payoff. I only effectively have 4 mana towards this. I only have 2 spells towards this. I think I just mulligan this one. This is pretty close to casting the Imperiosaur. I have 6 of 7 towards it. Once Upon a Time probably gets me there. I'm expecting this to be a counterspell deck, though, so our YOLOing may not be successful here. I'm expecting to be playing against a show and tell deck. All right. Once upon a time. Okay, now it's math time. So I have 8 mana towards this. Thrasta costs 2 mana. If I take Thrasta, I have 2 mana floating, which is enough to cast this afterwards, assuming that it works. Alternatively, I just take Allosaurus Shepherd. That feels significantly safer. So 4 mana, down to 3 mana, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm good. So yeah. Cradle, Shepherd. We get to do 5 of these, plus 2 mana. This can't be countered. This is 16, 17, 18 damage next turn, so not lethal, but it will shut off Ancient Tomb, and it will shut off fetching twice. Also, it might just be lethal next turn with this activating. They do have enough mana to do that. Very nice. So this just kills with 1 combat step. There's another land drop. A Lotus Petal. Opponent passes. I'll go to punchies. Send it, send it, send it. All right, Petty Theft buys my opponent a turn. They take 17 here. Going to 3. I'm fine redeploying this. Ward 2, super relevant there. And then we see if my opponent goes off this turn. Yeah, it needed to be a soul land for sneak attack plus activate. Let's stock up instead. So now Lotus Petal has to be one of the cards in their hand / top 5 cards. They need Lotus Petal, Show and Tell, plus something else. So now they need double Lotus Petal, Show and Tell, plus something else. So 5 perfects. Don't have it. All right, nice. GG's. Hello. How are you doing? I look like a genius for putting this in my deck. I need to trim some stuff here. I don't think I get to trim these. Looking for Cradle is super important. Maybe 2 payoff cards and 1 of these at random. So, what does this hand do? I cast Once Upon a Time and get any 0 drop. I play Ancient Imperiosaur on turn 1. That's fine. I'll be soft to a counter spell, but I will have a backup relevant card. And Once Upon a Time can also look for Agent of Treachery. So that's a thing as well. Ponder's fine. Okay, cool. I get this already. So here's Once Upon a Time. There's Agent of Treachery. I'm going to double check my math here. So 3, 6, 7 is Ancient Imperiosaur. I do unfortunately reveal this, but I think I'm still just taking it. So let's do the thing. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. All right, 12/12 in play. Have Agent of Treachery for Show and Tell. 2-turn clock. All right, that's mana that's not being spent on winning the game immediately. Big fan of that. And an island, which does not shuffle. Lotus Petal's fine. So I think I do pre-combat Once Upon a Time here, in case I hit a Convoke thingy. Another Agent of Treachery. I'm not expecting discard. I'm not expecting multiple Show and Tells. This does just kill next turn anyway. I will take another Agent of Treachery. Yeah. 13. Opponent at 6. There's the Show and Tell. There's the Agent of Treachery. I will gain control of an Atraxa. Opponent's cards need to be bananas here. Those do not look like bananas to me. Easy wins. GG's. Green Storm rising to the top here. Okay, opening hand has nothing going for it. I will mulligan this. Ooh, second hand also has nothing going for it. 5 cards starts to be sketchy. This looks pretty good though. I'm leaning towards this. I do this where I always Thrasta on one. No, I have to hit Cradle for it to work. I think I'm going to keep this. Get rid of the 2 payoff cards. All right. I mean, this is a fetch land that we might just do our thing against. All right. Once upon a time, looking for Cradle probably. Not Cradle. So in that case, we're just going to look for a 0-drop. The 0/6 Defender might be the best of these. So now we have a minimum of 4 redraws. And I would like to find Cradle plus payoff card in these redraws. There's a Glimpse. I hit some mana. Nice. Then I will just absolutely Glimpse again. Yeah. Now all of these are draw 2s. I can still fizzle from here, but it is much harder to now. Nice. Now Memnite. Chatterstorm is good. If nothing else, that is a payoff. So I can already go 2 mana, Chatterstorm, Storm Trigger, make a bunch of squirrels, and then I will get another card draw here. Tap 2 squirrels to do this. And now I can continue the chain on. Walker keeps going. My opponent has seen enough. well over 20 power on board. GG. Versus Windswept Heath, I think I am just not sideboarding. Noxious Revival for Gaia's Cradle is something that I can think about, but I think I'm just hoping to bully my opponent on turn 1 or 2. Okay, what does this hand do? Cast Once Upon a Time. Glimpse, Lotus Petal, 1 Memnite with 1 mana left over. I think I keep this under the assumption that between Once Upon a Time and a random draw, that this ends up being fine. Mind Break Trap would be annoying from my opponent. Oh, okay. So I always start here. Now what do I need? So I go Elvish Spirit Guide, Memnite. Sorry, Elvish Spirit Guide, Glimpse. Then my Glimpse is in before anything else happens. Storm is 1, 2, 3, 4. Really just want to hit Cradle here. I think towards that end I am going to Shield Sphere. So there's Glimpse. Let's try to find Cradle. I have to worry about Tabernacle here, which is kind of horrifying. Like Wasteland plus Tabernacle is very strong. Okay, there's Cradle. So this turn will probably end up being good in one capacity or another. The Shepherd is kind of free if you squint at it funny. There's a Thrasta. Nice. I'm now okay tapping Cradle. So there's the immediate Thrasta. I can Chatterstorm twice. That's fine, as long as I don't get Wasteland plus Tabernacle. Alright. Storm! And then with a Storm of 11, we make even more squirrels. Attack for 7 with Thrasta. Opponent goes to 13. Wasteland plus Tabernacle does it. Opponent has 2 cards. 2 of their 3 cards need to be Wasteland, Tabernacle. They said no to Wasteland. Tabernacle, Wasteland. I mean, what are you going to do? And Life from the Loam. So now a rather unfortunate thing happens. I think I am just going to concede here rather than play out a 30-turn game where my opponent almost certainly wins. Do I want to Noxious Revival? I don't know that I do. It's fine. My opponent needed Wasteland and Tabernacle at the same time on their Mold of 5. That's a lot to ask. And after I lose all of my creatures once to that combo, I don't know that Noxious Revivaling the Cradle back is actually good. So this hand does not have 2 mana for Chatterstorm. It only has 1 mana. Let's mulligan that. The second one just produces Thrasta on 1, right? There's my 2 mana. 1 spell, 2 spell, 3 spells, 4 spells, go. That's fine. Opponent on 5. First spell. I think I take a Spirit Guide to keep in hand so that I can pay for a Tabernacle once. So, yeah. Spirit Guide. I need 2 hits with this creature. Opponent's at 13. Can we make it 2 turns? Surgical Extraction on Lotus Petal. Alright, we both know what this game's about. Wasn't that just wrong? Didn't... Oh, they think I used that Spirit Guide. I see. Yeah, so it's clear from my end that I have a Spirit Guide, but that's not clear from their end. Alright, there's Crop Rotation. There's Tabernacle. So this game fully boils down to, do I draw a Spirit Guide or Cradle this turn? Feels bad. So pay for Thrasta. Lose the other 2. Miss. I will hit my opponent for 7, bringing them to 4. And then it's very hard for me to win the game from here. So I lose Thrasta. And I'll stay in this game until my opponent does something that looks reasonable, at which point I concede. Like, I have 2 Spirit Guides remaining in my deck as mana. Like, a 2 in 47 chance at drawing a 1-shot of mana is not reasonable. On it to 3. Malevolent Rumble. Alright, Malevolent Rumble finds Life from the Loam. Life from the Loam will certainly beat me from here. I'm okay with moving on with my day. So that was 3 wins, and both of our losses were, I have produced an effective turn 1 win if you don't answer it, and the Storm player and the Lands player both answered it immediately both times. GG's. Alright. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Honestly, this is very solid for a glass cannon. It is so much more consistent to play something like Storm or Oops All Spells that has interaction and protection than it is this. But if you are here to YOLO and you just want to say, I want to do something incredibly powerful, and if it doesn't work, I'm fine with that, this is pretty okay at that. The fact that you need the combat steps to win is unfortunate, but I don't know that I can make this deck much better from where it is at now. I liked the things that I had access to in the sideboard, and they were absolutely relevant, especially the Agent of Treachery, called shot there. I think if we end up playing against Dimir Tempo all day with Thoughtseizes and Counterspells at the same time, the results of this league look very different. But if you're expecting not to pair into very many Counterspells, this gets my seal of approval. This was much better than I was expecting from this league, and that was a great way to spend my morning. With that, folks, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. See you.